folks. We're giving this another shot. So basically, what has happened as of late is I was recording the old Life of emails, and I was basically having no editing process. And it was also really time consuming. So I was like, it's just worth it. And I recently was like, no. But, as of late, my dear friend Joe, the Joe, has convinced me that recording these Life of emails is indeed worth it. Because, one, he will be doing the editing for these Life of emails, which hopefully will make them better. And two, people don't like reading, including him, which means that this is an alternative. So for all you people who don't like reading, here you go. This is for you, okay? All right, the 31st Life of email. I awaken to a voice as the noonday sun floods into my eyes. Rise, my child. I raise my hands to block out the sun, and it turns out I'm a robot. So, that's cool. I get off the altar on which I find myself, not creepy at all, and look around. I appear to be in some ancient Greece garden that crumbled long ago and has been overgrown by foliage. Arise, and look upon the world I have made. The world I have made for you, my child. I scan my surroundings, but don't find the source of the narrating father voice in my head. Wait, if I'm a robot, and I'm his child, then how does that... I created you to enjoy this garden, but not only for you to enjoy it, but to grow in it as well. Ah, so I'm literally not his child. At least that's comforting. The trials you will face may harm you, but have faith, my child, for it is all for your own good. Whoa. Can we go back to the trials you may face will harm you part? Do not fear, for I, Elohim, shall not abandon you. Wait a sec. I woke up in a garden that a sky voice named Elohim created. God? Is that you? There is only one command I give you. Do not traverse the tower, for only death awaits you there. Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting Garden of Eden vibes right now. Have faith, my child. Now go forth, and subdue this world I have created for you. Well, I was planning on chilling here a bit longer, but okie dokie. I then proceed to walk out of my altar summoning home to find a force field gate and a yellow camera-looking device. I look to the gate, then to the camera, then to the sky. So, got any divine directives? I wait, but there's no reply. Well, alright then. I pick up the camera-looking device, and a floating word appears above it, reading, Jammer. I think for a moment before using the jammer to jam the device emitting the force field gate, causing the gate to open. Well, that was easy, I say as I walk casually through the gate. These trials are going to be a cinch.
2 hours later.
Okay, so I need to put the box on the button to open the force field gate, take the jammer to the other side of the gate, jam the gate, take the box through the gate, put it on the fan, connect the crystal prism to the red laser and the 2 red laser receivers, turn on the fan so the box and the crystal prism are lifted in the air by the air currents over the wall to open the gate, to get to the jammer, through which I open the other gate, and get to the sigil. Easy. Real easy. And finally, upon clearing the last level. Finally, I did it. Well done, child. You have overcome the first of the trials set before you. What? You're saying those 7 dozen puzzles, which took me 2 hours to complete, was only the first of the trials? I open before you a new world. Only remember, you must not traverse the tower. It is not for you. Right. Mystical God voice says, don't go up the tower. Got it. I walk over to a computer that's just sitting in the middle of the room. Ooh, what's this? I type, hello? And the monitor blinks a moment before I receive back, ah, another fateful slave has arrived. I think for a moment before replying back snarkily, well, I prefer the term indentured servant, but I suppose slave will do. The computer takes a few extra seconds to respond. Do you think you're funny? I smirk and type back, yeah. I wait a while, but the computer doesn't respond. I shrug. Well, I guess some computers can't take a joke. And I walk through the gate to the next set of puzzles.
4 hours later.
This time for sure. Place the crystal, put the crystal on the block, put the block on the thing, and step on the button to launch the thing over the thing. Next, climb the ladder, avoid the Gatling gun, put the block on the shocky robot of death, ride the robot of death till you reach your thing, and then do the thing with the thing to disable the gate. Use the jammer to open the other gate, then connect the laser crystal to the other laser crystal to turn off the fan so you can get to the thing, which allows you to open the other thing, so you can then turn off the thing, so you can then get the jammer to disable the other thing, so you can ride the shocky robot of death back to pick up the earlier thing, to connect to the blue laser, turn off the laser robot, to open the final gate and get the sigil, upon clearing the last level. Well done, my child. You have persevered and shown yourself faithful. As a reward, I grant you all that you can see. But you must remember, do not climb the tower, for it holds only death for you. Yeah, don't climb the tower. Don't worry, I wasn't planning on it. Yet another world opens up before you. Are you serious? Not another one. As you have faith in me, so I have faith you shall persevere. I throw my head back and let out a deep sigh. Fine. I guess the puzzles can't get any harder, right? And then I walk toward the gate, and I notice another computer monitor. I type, "Hey, are you still there?" The computer responds, "Yes, and after giving some thought, I'm willing to overlook your reverent sarcasm." I chuckle and type back, "Well, I pray thee, forgive thy slave for his irreverence." The cursor blinks a bit before typing back, "You're a pain, you know that?" I type back, "Yes." The computer continues, "Anyway, assuming you have a brain somewhere in that tin skull, have you ever wondered why Elohim doesn't want you up in that tower?" I think a moment before responding. So this person must be the equivalent of the serpent in Genesis. Well, I know how that ends. I put my hands to the keyboard once again and type, "Nope," before leaving and walking to the next gate.
6 hours later.
Okay, first do the thing, then the other thing, with the third thing that opens the thing to let me get to the thing, to the other thing, that I then have to rush over to the thing, to put on the thing, to close the thing, which opens the thing, which elevates those things, which connects the thing to the other thing, and then the thing, then the thing, then the thing, do the thing, and then, no, I forgot to do the thing! And finally, upon clearing the last level, I stumble out on the last level. Please, tell me it's over. Well done, my child. You have persevered, overcome all the trials I have set before you. I fall on the floor. Oh, thank goodness it's over. Now one final trial remains. No! You must confront the deceiver and join the ranks of the messengers. I perk up. Wait, all I have to do is talk to the computer guy and then I'm done? I spring to my feet. Yay! I approach the computer screen and type, "Hey, so apparently I'm supposed to confront you. Do you feel confronted?" Text rapidly begins to emerge on the monitor. "Listen, there isn't much time. I have to tell you. Elohim is..." "Do not listen to the deceiver. His tongue brings only death. My child, show faith in your maker and banish him for all eternity." A text box pops up reading, type, /banish to end program. I shrug and begin to type /banish, and the computer monitor responds, "Wait, what are you doing? Listen to me." I hit enter, and the text stops abruptly. I smile. Hey, I know how this story ends. I ain't gonna pull an Adam and Eve 2.0. The voice in the sky says warmly, "Well done, my child. You have proven yourself faithful, and so have merited the esteemed task of helping those who come after you overcome the trials as you have. Enter through the gate to the paradise of the messenger, and when you have done all that you wish, you may join me in eternal life." Ooh, paradise sounds cool. I then run through the gate to find a beautiful floating island. Look, there's waterfalls and trees and butterflies. Wow, look at that shiny rock!
20 minutes later.
I dangle my feet off the edge of the sky island. Well, that got old fast. I suppose on to eternal life I go. And with that, I rush up some golden stairs to find some pearly gates, and I run through them. And then I find myself unable to move. A program runs in the corner of my vision as everything begins to fade. Motor functions offline. Hey, why can't I move? Updating version and software. Updating. Wiping memory. Wait, wipe. Oh no. Terminating program. And at that point, all went dark. So yeah, let this serve as a lesson to you kids. If you ever play a video game in which a magical sky voice claims to be God and tells you to do something, don't listen to him. There's a 100% chance your robot body will be frozen and rebooted. You know, just in case you ever find yourself in that situation. So yeah, anyway, if you did not catch on quite yet, this was indeed a video game I played called The Talos Principle. I think it was the first solo game I played in like 2 years. I don't know. I might have done something else, but definitely the first time I committed to like legit playing a video game. It was really Braden's fault, honestly. He kept bugging me about owning a gaming computer and never playing games on it. Plus, he talked about how this game was good and philosophy, so eventually I gave in and it was actually pretty great. The puzzles were actually pretty darn challenging, especially as the game progressed. But I seriously was disappointed that doing the right thing ends up getting you murdered. Like, seriously, what kind of ethics are you trying to teach? It's stupid. Oh well. Anyway, let's dive into life. After finishing my last life email, I spent the rest of the day reading the Bible and watching some anime, so that was good. The next morning was Christmas Eve, so I spent a good portion of that day reading peer-reviewed papers about hell and taking notes. And if writing papers isn't, about hell isn't in the holiday spirit, then, I guess I'm wrong. Because that was definitely what I did. I also played some VR, delivered some toffee under the cover of night to the Myers. Ben unfortunately caught me. He was really fast, actually. Like, I drove up and took like 30 seconds. I even ran to the door and he still caught me. Anyway, I then went out with Grace and we rollerbladed around neighborhoods looking at lights, which was kind of cool. And then, come Christmas, my family did a bunch of Christmas stuff, presents and all that. Most of the day I was free, so I may have possibly spent 10, well, okay, maybe just 8. 8 hours playing the Talos Principle. So, yeah. However, the next morning, I did manage to get 4 pages done on my paper concerning Hell. So, my character obviously wasn't completely jeasant, though I also did play another 4 hours of Talos Principle, so, But the game was rewarding, so that's gotta count for something, right? The following day, I helped Dad haul some wood, and though we did have a disagreement during that time, we later worked it out, so that was good. And I also acted as a moderator between Mom and Dad, which was very interesting. Other than that, we also hung out with the Bassets that day, and we got to play 2 games of Catan, one of which I won, and the which I lost, which we don't need to talk about that part. The day after, I worked a lot on my Hell paper. I'm now convinced of a position on Hell called annihilationism. If anyone wants to be interested in talking to me about that, just let me know. And the rest of the day, I filled by catching up with Mark. And we actually talked about a lot of topics, which was really actually pretty good. And then I also watched some anime with Mom, because that's, mother-son bonding time, all that. More work on my paper filled the next time of my 24-hour period. And I also got time to Bell Ring done before going over the waves and hanging out, which was meh, but not horrible. And I think the next morning was Sunday, and I recall powering through the last of my paper after working for like a solid, 4 hours or so, and just barely finishing it before my cousins from California arrived. And then after everyone re-arrived, because, they're here before, and then they just stopped in to, hang out during the return trip, we all went to a thrift store looking for some rope, which we didn't find, and we didn't even end up needing, and it was also a complete waste of time. And after that, we went home, and we played Starvio till 2 in the morning, except Toei, who played with my VR headset. And Starvio, by the way, is like this survival game, I guess as the name implies, where it's pretty simple, but it's very fun. So, there you go. Video game that we all played again. The following day, Joe made some uneducated claims over text, and we debated about that until I got a call from Jordan and we caught up, so that was good. I then drove to Duncan's house for his New Year's party, which wasn't very party-esque, and I think I kind of ruined it by bringing up contentious theological issues, because he's an Orthodox, you see, and his former, probably you could say girlfriend, didn't really dig Orthodoxy, so yeah, that wasn't meshing well. But anyway, upon that party perishing, I then drove Duncan to Molly's New Year's party, in which I played a lot of ping pong, and I destroyed people. And then we rounded out the night with some good conversation. So I did not kill that party. That's good. The next morning, we all played some more Starvio, before Dad and my uncle decided to spontaneously drive to Estes. So the cousin squad joined up, and we ended up splitting this massive sandwich and a bunch of cheddar cheese sun chips. Also, those are like objectively the best chips on earth. Like, it's not even disputable. And then we drove up to the National Forest while it was night. We're riding in the back of Ben's car, because he has a bed in the back, which is pretty cool. And on the way back, Ben tried to have like a heart-to-heart with the cousins, which was sort of received. I don't know. It was interesting, but he tried at least. After that, we got home and drove straight to Morgan's house, where we met up with them females to watch Bofuri together, which is an anime I got everyone hooked on. And finally, upon arriving home from that, we all played Starvio again, late into the night. The next morning, the cousins left, and I spent some time cleaning up the house and my room. I also got some Bible reading in, bought some jeans, and spent the rest of the day with me and Ben playing Starvio together. We used to play this game like a lot, so I guess we kind of got temporarily addicted to it again. It's partly nostalgic, honestly. And yeah, we basically did beat the game, so that was the last time we played for, since till now. The following morning, I spent responding to Sydney's criticisms of my fine-tuning argument for God's existence, most of which were grammatical, which is 100% deserved because my grammar is horrible. But the remainder of which were concerning content, but mostly because she didn't understand it. I mean, it could be my fault. But I'm more inclined to think she didn't want to put in the brain power to understand it, because, these sort of issues do require a fair bit of brain power. But yeah, I then made a time whiteboard, where I basically put a chart of all my perpetual scheduled events I have going each day. And after that, I watched some more anime with Mom before heading over to Caleb's, where we took turns playing with the Oculus till it died, and then talking. And then we watched When I May Decree, the worst movie ever. And to commemorate its horribleness, I have summarized the plot for you here. This little section is called The Worst Film Ever Made. A summary. The film, like all great dystopian films, begins by informing the viewer that a crisis of global warming has occurred, and thus the world is so frozen it's uninhabitable. Trust me, it makes sense if you really don't think about it. We are then introduced to the 3 protagonists of the film, Captain America, One-Armed Gandhi, and Robin, but more edgy. Everyone is stuck on a train that's a perpetual motion machine circling the Earth, and it carries the last remnants of humanity on it. After a bit of introduction, the train SWAT team takes some children, and then a dude throws a shoe at the dictator person. The shoe-throwing dude's punishment is being forced to stick his arm outside the train for 7 minutes, and when it's pulled back in, big surprise, it's frozen and smashed with a hammer. Then, Captain America, Edgy Robin, and One-Armed Gandhi plan to lead a revolt. Captain America thinks the train SWAT team don't have any bolts in their guns, so he tests his theory by having a trained SWAT team guy put his gun to a head and pull the trigger. He doesn't die, so then he leads a revolt and takes control of some cars. He then unlocks a box in which he finds a drug addict hacker dude and the drug addict omniscient lady, which he then bribes with drugs to help him open the doors to the next train cars. They open the next door to find a train car full of axe murderers in ski masks. Like, seriously, there's like 100 axe murderers just right there. They then proceed to fight in a very gruesome manner for at least 15 minutes, and then Captain America, when faced between saving Edgy Robin or capturing the domineering autistic speech-giving lady, decides to capture the lady and let Edgy Robin die. He then almost kills domineering autistic speech-giving lady because he's mad. They then stop for a sushi break. Seriously, no joke. They're actually trying to take over the whole engine of the car, right? And they just stop for a break for sushi. And then they go into a colorful classroom full of kids, and a pregnant teacher gives a brief history of the world on the train, or the train world, I suppose you could say. Afterward, a dude walks in with a wheelbarrow full of eggs, and the pregnant teacher lady pulls out an Uzi and shoots a bunch of insignificant characters before his knife is thrown into her throat. Captain America then takes the pregnant teacher lady's Uzi and shoots the autistic speech-giving lady, who he chose to capture instead of saving his best friend. The drug hacker then continues to open up train cars until the super tough bad guy reveals himself and broadcasts himself shooting One-Armed Gandhi. So everyone's like, no, One-Armed Gandhi! He then proceeds to shoot at Captain America through the glass of the train on one of the last cars, and then Captain America shoots back with his Uzi, which, by the way, is just as accurate as the guy's AK. And they both shoot each other through the grass until they stop. For some reason, it's not really clear. Captain America and Co. then walk through a party car, a sketchy car, and then the super tough guy fights him in a sauna car, where he almost kills everyone, but doesn't. And Captain America then finally makes it to the final car, with only the drug addict hacker guy and the drug addict omniscient lady left, where he then decides to have an emotional moment and confesses he's murdered Edgy Robin's mom, and is also a cannibal. And he likes babies best. Further, he relates that it's only because One-Armed Gandhi cut off his own arm for him to eat that he turned from his ways. And then drug hacker dude reveals that his drug of choice also doubles as a bomb, and he thinks it's probably not too cool to live outside the train. So he then affixes his drug bomb to the outside of the train door, and it's at this point that the door to the train engine opens up, and a lady walks out, shoots drug hacker dude, while the drug addict omniscient lady just sleeps through it, and escorts Captain America into the engine room, where he meets Balanced Monologue Man. And Balanced Monologue Man then informs Captain America that he and One-Armed Gandhi planned Captain America's whole uprising from the beginning to curb the population growth inside the train. And also, he wants Captain America to take over for him as a cruel dictator, because he is now old. Captain America seems like he might say yes, until the drug omniscient lady runs in and starts scratching the floor. Thus, when Captain America opens the floor, he finds out the train is actually powered by children, and so proceeds to beat up the Balanced Monologue guy, and pull the child out of the floor, getting his arm cut off in the process. The drug addict hacker dude then wakes up, apparently not dead, fights the super tough bad guy, who is also apparently not dead, and wins, and then sets off his explosive drugs. The explosion then kills Captain America, the drug addict hacker dude, and causes an avalanche which kills everyone on the train, except the drug omniscient lady and the child which Captain America pulled free of the engine. And these two characters then step off the train wreckage into the snow and see a polar bear. That is literally the end. It's like the objectively worst made film ever. So yeah, after that completely logical and reasonable film, I had school early in the morning, and I did my homework, changed my phone service to T-Mobile, and spent a good time working on my history philosophy memorization. And then I finally, did some movie night stuff with the fam. The next day was more school. I took a few hours to change my oil, and then I read half a book that Alan told me to read, which was meh, before I watched a movie called Predestination with the fam, which was actually pretty good. I think it was a bit disturbing at points, but it was really mind-bending, which is why I really liked. The next school day, I did school, and then finished with that book Alan told me to read. And overall, it was quite encouraging, because after the philosophy book I read over the summer that literally took me a month to read, I, for some reason, thought that any reading I undertook would be a time-consuming and exhausting endeavor. However, after reading this whole, 250-page book in 2 days, I realized that not all books are as hard to read as philosophy tomes, and that reading is actually pretty easy. So who would have thought about that? But yeah, I finished reading that book and started a different book on neuroscience, providing evidence for the Jungian cognitive functions, but I didn't get too far before Jake, Noah, and Joe showed up to debate hell. Jake left early, but overall I said the conversation was pretty good. Both Noah and Joe made some actually really good points I didn't anticipate, and they put a sizable dent in my case for annihilationism. Now, I do think annihilationism still has the better of the abductive argument, but nevertheless, the two of them did well. That's all I'm saying. Also, me and Joe ended up talking till 2 in the morning, so that was quite good. The next morning, I found it to be snowing, but that did not stand in the way of me, Ben, and Noah, and the gang all playing Airsoft, because, we never stop for anything. Airsoft must go on. So yeah, we all went out, played Airsoft in the snow for 4 hours and 30 minutes, and that was pretty fun. Honestly, I was quite tired by the end of it, and I'm pretty sure there were some times when I shot people and they didn't notice because they couldn't feel it with all the layers on, but overall it was pretty good. Also, my helmet, the metal one I made earlier, worked pretty well, and the only thing that wasn't the best was the metal edge rubbing on my neck when I turned my head. So after a while it began to hurt, but other than that it was great. So yeah, we all made it out safely, and it was a good time. I got a small amount of time where I got to chill before Noah and Melissa came over for dinner, and then they talked with the fam until about 10 p.m. However, at one point in the conversation, the conversation turned to what I would like in a romantic partner, which was the worst. I managed to mostly get out of the question, but seriously, I can objectively say that's the worst sort of question I'd ever been asked. And apparently they thought it was, quote-unquote, only fair that after I attempted to ask, genuinely interesting questions like, what is a person? Or what's the correct moral theory? That I would have to answer a question I disliked. But that was so not fair. My question was an objective and logical one. There was a feely death question. So yeah, I just, want to make this crystal clear that all of you should never ask me that question. It's a stupid question and completely unedifying. So don't do it. After that, I went to bed and I got distracted by websites that promised to let me stalk people for free, but always end up trying to charge me after I did other work. So that was kind of frustrating. And don't ask why I was looking at stalking websites, because it was really intriguing. And I'm not a horrible person, probably. The following day, I read another paper on Helm before playing some D&D and eating some amazing potatoes at Sydney's house. Seriously, they're called double-baked potatoes, and I think they're the most magical substance on this earth. They're so good, holy cow. After that, we did Bible study. Me and O'Neill did dishes before walking around CSU in the cold and having a good conversation. And then coming back to play a meh game of trivia, and finally did some Smash, which was actually really good. The next day, I spent a good chunk of it reading scholarly papers refuting teleology, which I have come to love, and particularly the Catholic Church's application of it regarding sexual ethics. So that was, I suppose, good, but unfortunate, as the papers were quite persuasive. I then hosted Animen, which I am officially adopting that name. Sad. And it's been our first meeting in ages because Joe's house has been out of commission for a while. And Morgan actually joined it, so I guess it wasn't Anime anymore because there was a female. However, we were working our way through Sword Art Online, and it turns out the end episodes are quite romantic. So that was kind of sucky. We ended up skipping a lot of it. But after a bit of mad conversation, we hopped in Caleb's car and drove the typical canyon route, and we got some good conversations going, so it was worth it. When we got back, Morgan headed out, but me, Caleb, and Joe stayed up late, taking turns on VR and playing a simple online game, but it was actually a really good time. The following morning, I slept until 1, because I could, and then I did some homework. After that, meeting Rashid, Christy, Noah to discuss some stuff for teaching opportunity. I'm actually going to probably get to teach stuff at Rashid Christy, particularly the history of philosophy, because I've been working on memorizing it for a year now, so I'm getting to be quite the expert. So yeah, that went well. When I got home, I started working on a presentation and sent it to Noah to see if that's what he was looking for. And then I read some more papers, and then I watched anime with Mom and Grace. I also watched the legendary episode in the Avatar with the Secret Tunnel song. So, that's also kind of fun. The following morning, school occurred. I picked up Grace from school, got some more reading done, and then started a conversation with this materialist kid on Discord. And then I went to youth group, where I played a lot of Spikeball, and I really do love that game. Spikeball is a very good game. Thursday, I got done with school super fast, which allowed me to read for basically the whole day. So I ended up finishing the book on neuroscience, and I took some pretty extensive notes, so that should come in handy sometime. Finally, yesterday I was able to sleep after technically checking in for school. Our school has this stupid rule that you have to pass an attendance task during the period, even if there's no lecture. So even there's no reason to be in class by, 7:50 in the morning, I still have to wake up and do attendance. So after I got that done, I watched some anime with the fam, played soccer with the usual group, which was fun, and then went over to Sam Wade's house at 6:30 to play a game of Catan, which I won. And then we also watched Tenet, which I've heard to be really mind-bending, and it was pretty decently mind-bending. Not going to say it was the best, but it wasn't the worst. And then finally, the day ended by me, Mom and Grace watching anime, and me writing this life email. So yeah, there you go. That's all I've got. Talk to you guys later.